Hey guys, Steve here. Today's message is called Hell, the Bad News. Now, most of my videos are on the good news because I believe that it is the goodness of God that leads man to change his mind about him. But there's a lot of Bible verses about hell, and there's a man who has a video about when he spent 23 minutes in hell, and I'm going to cover the first part of that. And I'll make a link here to that video in case you want to watch the whole thing. But here goes. So this is the story of Bill Weiss. He starts the story with one night he got up in the middle of the night to have a glass of water and was pulled up out of his body. He says he landed in an actual prison cell in hell. Rough-hewn stones, bars, filthy, stinking, dirty prison like a dungeon with intense heat. It was so far beyond the ability to sustain life. Now, this is talked about in this verse from Isaiah 24:22, and they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days shall they be visited. Again in Proverbs 7:27, her house is the way to hell, going down to the chambers of death. In Job 17:16 it says, they shall go down to the bars of the pit when our rest together is in the dust. He tells in the video, there was no strength in my body, but I wanted to move. Scripture confirms this in Isaiah 14:9 through 10. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? In Psalm 88:4, I am counted with them that go down into the pit. I am as a man that hath no strength. And Acts 17:28, in hell you are void of any physical strength, because strength comes from God. In him we live and move and have our being. He tells also, I look up and I saw these two enormous creatures in the cell. They were demons, pacing like vicious, caged animals, reptilish in appearance, bumps and scales all over the one's body, huge jaws, sunken in eyes, claws over a foot long. And these particular two were like 12 or 13 foot tall. They were blaspheming and cursing God. They had an extreme hatred for God. We know that blasphemy comes from the demonic realm, as it says in Revelation 13:6 and James 2:7. Then they directed that hatred they had for God towards me. I wondered why. What have I done to them? But the one demon picked me up, threw me into the wall, bones broke. I collapsed on the floor. I couldn't believe this was actually happening to me. Why am I not dead? And the other demon picked me up, dug his claws into my chest, tore my flesh open. It just hung like ribbons. This is actually happening. I thought this couldn't be happening. But I had a body, as it says in Matthew 10:28, and fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. In Luke 16, the story of the rich man and Lazarus, the rich man had eyes and could see. He was thirsty and wanted a drop of water to cool his tongue. He had a tongue. He had eyes. He had a mouth to speak. So you have a body, but it withstands these torments. I noticed there was no water or no blood or water coming from the wounds. In Leviticus 17:11 it says, for the life of the flesh is in the blood. Well, there's no life in hell, so there's no blood. And Zechariah 9:11 says, I have sent forth thy prisoners out of the pit wherein is no water. There's not one drop of water in hell, and these demons have no mercy over you whatsoever. But Psalms 103:17 says, but the mercy of the Lord is from everlasting to everlasting upon them that fear him. And that means worshipfully or reverently fear him. They don't fear him in hell, so you don't receive that benefit. About this time, it got dark. I believe it was God's presence there so I could see, but then he withdrew his light, and it was pitch black in hell. Like in Lamentations 3:6, where it says, he has set me in dark places, as they that be dead of old. Or in June 13, where it says, the blackness of darkness forever. But it wasn't just dark. You could literally feel the darkness. And that's not just an exaggeration. In Exodus 10:21, it mentions a darkness that can be felt because the evil and wickedness just penetrate every cell in your body. He tells them that he was taken out of this prison cell and placed over next to this large pit of raging fire. This pit was about a mile across and flames raging high up into this open cavern. This wasn't metaphorical or allegorical flames. It was real fire. Psalm 11:6 says, upon the wicked he shall rain snares, fire and brimstone. And Matthew 13:49 says, the angels shall sever the wicked from among the just, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. There are many scriptures on fire. And then he says, and this is where I could first see people inside this pit. People were both burning and screaming. And I know this is awful to hear about, and most of us have never seen a person on fire, but the flesh was hanging off of their bones. People were screaming, and the screams were so loud, you want to get away from the screams, but you can't. For all eternity, you have to endure that. In Isaiah 57:21, it says, there is no peace for the wicked. There is no peace of mind in hell. Then he says, I wanted to let my wife know where I was at, but I understood I'll never get out. I'll never get the chance to say goodbye to her. That thought alone was extremely tormenting, that you could never say goodbye to your loved ones, and they don't know that you still exist. You see, death does not mean you cease to exist. Death means separation from God. So that is quite a bit of his experiences in hell. So I'll make a link to the video above, and if you want to continue from where I was talking there, it's about 8 minutes into the video. So that is the bad news. But the good news, as I often give you, is Jesus came to take away your sins, to cast them into a sea of forgetfulness. As you know, my Bible verse for my website is John 3:16. For God so loved you, for God so loved me, that he gave his only begotten Son, not Buddha, not Muhammad, not Joseph Smith, gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth, just believe, to miss all this torment, to miss all that agony. And as bad as that is bad, people that go to heaven tell it is that opposite good in heaven. Gave his only begotten Son, that if you or me believe in him, all we have to do is believe, and we have eternal life. So another scripture about that, because we were talking about the power of darkness there, is from Colossians 1:12 through 14. Giving thanks to the Father who has qualified us to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in the light. He has delivered us from the power of darkness and conveyed us into the kingdom of the Son of his love, in whom we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sins. Similarly, verily, verily, I say unto you, he that heareth my word and believeth on him that sent me hath everlasting life, shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death unto life. And guess what? No one can snatch you out of his hand, as it says in John 28. They shall never perish. No one will snatch them out of my hand. I give them eternal life. John 6:40, and this is the will of him that sent me, that every one which seeth the Son and believeth on... Sorry, I still have those fingers up. Which seeth the Son and believeth on him may have everlasting life, and I will raise him up at the last day. So remember your standing. You are perfected forever. But this man, Jesus, after he had offered one sacrifice for sins forever, sat down on the right hand of God, for by one offering he hath perfected forever you. He hath perfected forever me. He hath perfected forever them that are sanctified. That word sanctified means he hath perfected forever them that are set apart. And we are set apart because he has purchased us with his blood. So I know that was some bad news, and I wanted to give you good news at the end. So you guys have a great day. Bye-bye.